Or is it? He's still waving. Perhaps not.
Everything, but the cars being narrower and no tires, the cars are undrivable, you know, in a sort of pace that we still have the aerodynamics. So we should cut the aerodynamics and have a bigger tire. And if we want to go slower, we need to cut the engine speed. Because I had 3 or 4 years ago a 3.5 liter engine with 700 horsepower. Now I have a 3 liter engine with almost 800 horsepower. So, you know, the engineers are very, very clever.
Physically, this hill climb won't be very demanding for you, but will you have to be on your mettle? You don't want to put one of these into the flint wall up there.
Well, I tell you, Jackie Stewart told me that he would allow me to do the driving in Goodwood, but he told me to take care. So I take care of the car, I take care of myself. I'm driving, you know, in the following weeks our Formula One, so I don't want to disrupt that. You know, for me, it's going to be fantastic to drive Ayrton's car.
You know, there is one problem with this place. After a weekend unleashed in what amounts to a multi-million-pound toy shop, it's hard to leave all these cars behind. But some people don't have to. Simon Taylor has been mingling with the millionaires.
Well, you can get rid of your millions in here in a matter of moments. The Brooks Goodwood auction always brings together the most beautiful historic machinery money can buy.
150,000. 160, I've taken the bid at 170,000. You bid at 180,000. 90,000. 190,000 pounds. I've taken 200,000 pounds. Bid here at 240. Is there any advance?
It's enormous fun. I think that to enjoy an auction sale, you know, you have to get into the spirit of it as an auctioneer. And I look forward to this sale months in advance. It's a very, very special sale.
Bidders pore over the amazing array of machinery in the build-up to the auction, paying attention to every detail. And the cars aren't just going to museums and dealers.
There are more people buying cars to use on a regular basis. There are more events. There are more exciting things to do with the cars. And that's been very good for the collector car hobby. And they're enthusiasts, people who want to buy these cars, use them, enjoy them.
Alongside the saloons and historic racers are some rare specimens, including the star of the 1950s film Checkpoint, an exquisite Aston Martin DB3S. And this legendary short-nosed Jaguar D-Type, raced by Stirling Moss at Le Mans 45 years ago.
Full FIA papers ready to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. Lot of interest in this lot. Start me £200,000. £200,000 offered, 20 I'm bid now, several places, 220,000, 40, 240,000 on the ride at 240,000. 260 I've taken, 80 here. £300,000, 20 I'm bid, 320,000.
Is it a surprise to you that these cars are worth quite so much money?
It is, really. I must say that it is a beautiful car for certain races. I mean, for Le Mans, which of course it won, as you say, rounds, anything like that. But as a road racing car, not so good. But I can remember when we had that car at Le Mans, you know, when you walked to scrutineering, feeling so proud to be walking alongside a green English car that everybody said, my God, that's fantastic.
All done? 360,000, thank you.
When he's not selling, there's nothing Robert Brooks likes more than getting behind the wheel of a historic racing car.
I'm going to drive a D-Type Jaguar in the hill climb competition. It's the car that won Le Mans in 1957. And so I will be right in there. I'll be in the Le Mans parade. I'll be belting it up the hill and just having a whale of a time.
And for the lucky bidders, a chance to test drive their new toy, in this case, a 1922 Stutz 350-gallon pumper fire engine, coming to this country from a rare collection in the USA. A quick lesson from the owner on the subtleties of handling a monster like this, and then it's foot to the floor.
With more legends than you could shake a stick at, the motorbike paddock was certainly the place to visit. And there was one particular visitor who had enjoyed more than his fair share of victories.
I think the best day of my life was the Dutch TT at Assen in 1964, where I became the first guy in the history of racing to win 3 Grand Prix in one day. I won the 350 first, then the 250 and the 125. It was a fantastic feeling. The crowd came over. When you go to the top of the podium 3 times in one day, the crowd just came over the fence and was fantastic.
Redman's incredible achievement is all the more impressive when you consider the perils facing riders at the time.
We had a very dangerous time. In fact, the 62 season, the obvious winners of the World Championship were going to be either Hocking, McIntyre, Harewood, Phillips or myself. And at the end of the year I was World Champion, Mike was second and the other 3 were dead, so it was quite dangerous. It's something you don't talk too much about, you know, your friends. It was 6 friends every year, and every season you knew that 6 were going to be crossed off. And after about 8 years of this, Harewood said to me, you know, you and I are on the short list now. And I got through it and he didn't, so I'm the only survivor of that particular group.
Exhilarating bike racing may have been, it didn't stop world champion John Surtees from switching to cars and becoming equally as successful.
I was a bit dangerous to start with, but fortunately, the reason I got the opportunity to drive is because I jumped into cars and I went as quick as the people who normally drove them, or quicker, and so it was different. But at the same time, you're still getting the feel through the seat of your pants and the tips of your fingers and through your feet. It's just a question, of course, that you've got to sort of get all your coordinates working a little differently. You know, you haven't got the throttle in your right hand, you've got it down on your right foot.
Despite the transition to 4 wheels, his passion for racing bikes and his respect for riders hasn't diminished, particularly for one German legend.
George Meyer, when we were bombed out during the war, we were shuttled off to Yorkshire for a while, and a tea chest with all magazines travelled with us, my father's, because he was a racer before. And on top of it was the 39 TT Grand Prix, a TT Isle of Man race, and a picture of George Meyer flying through the air going down Bray Hill on the BMW compressor. I actually found and bought that bike, and so that sort of picture I had in my mind was become a very personal thing, and of course I met George Meyer, and it was just that boyhood dream.
Another champion enjoying himself was Sammy Miller. He now owns no less than 200 bikes, and he'd love to turn back the clock to the golden age of racing.
I enjoyed trials riding immensely. When I stopped road racing, I took up trials riding seriously, and was lucky enough to get 11 British Championships, and everyone was, you know, enjoy winning. You don't enjoy getting beat, that's a problem. But we enjoyed it. It was great racing, and you know, every year, every period has got its champions, and everybody enjoyed it.
So while the legends of a bygone era kept the autograph hunters happy, they all agreed about one thing. They certainly wouldn't let go of their magnificent machines.
This 6 or 7 bikes are probably worth about £5 million. I know that the 6s I could get £1 million each for.
But you wouldn't swap one of these?
No. I'll keep this. You have the modern stuff for it.
That's it for this week, but don't forget we've still 2 more visits to the festival for you to enjoy. Make sure you join us. Next time, get set for the rough stuff. World Rally rivals Colin McRae and Richard Burns vie to be King of the Hill. Actor Anthony Edwards abandons ER to see some cars which always enjoy intensive care. Rob heads up and away with the aerobatic team.